Abhyasa and Vairagya. Here we have two words together because they're introduced together at the same time. And remember here that, again, we're talking about foundation principles so that the 8 rungs are understandable, and then we'll talk about, what you actually do with the 8 rungs. And at this moment, I'm thinking I want to invite you to remember, don't turn this into work. If you've been watching through these videos up to this point, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with some of these words. Please don't let it throw you off. Mostly, as you go through this the first time, if there's new words, allow to sink in for you the principles. The principles are much more important than the words. If you come back through this and watch it again and you play with this stuff and hang out with it, gradually the terminology will become second nature. But this is not about a memorizing lesson so that you can, pass an examination. We may in the course put some little quizzes in there, but I make a promise to you about any quizzes we put in there. I like to make quizzes just insanely obvious. I may say something like, which is more important, abhyasa or drinking a beer? And presuming that you'll know that drinking a beer is more important. No, abhyasa. Anyway, so please play with this. Hold it lightly. Please don't allow these terminologies to throw you off. Remember, I mentioned earlier the idea in the medical field that doctors and nurses and medical professionals and pharmacists, chemists, these people know the language of pharmacology. They know how to speak this language. We who are not in the medical field, we don't know their language. Every field of human inquiry has terminology to go with it. And if we're going to actually be able to practice traditional Ashtanga yoga, we want to have some ideas about the terminology of what we're doing. And gradually, like as within any field, it will grow on you over time. And conversations will happen. You can write to us and ask any question you have, and the understanding will come. Abhyasa and Vairagya go together. The simple English translation of Abhyasa and Vairagya is practice and non-attachment. The word abhyasa means practice, but it has a particular slant to it. There's another word that also means practice that is called sadhana. Sadhana gets translated into English as practice. Abhyasa gets translated into English as practice. So it can easily look like abhyasa and sadhana are the same thing. They are not. They're both practice, but there's two principles that are different there. They may be subtle principles, or once you see the subtlety, the subtle difference, you realize, wow, they're significantly different, but they tremendously go hand in hand. First let me mention the sadhana word. If you have a specific practice, if you say the 8 rungs, well, the 8 rungs are very systematic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ashtanga. The 8 rungs are part of sadhana. It's a very specific thing. If you learn a particular breathing practice, that is an example of an item of sadhana. If you learn to develop a sitting posture, sitting asana for meditation, that is part of sadhana. The word abhyasa, which also means practices, is much broader. It's much more foundational, which is why we're talking about it here. And abhyasa, as practices, means literally choosing to do the things in life that lead you toward a steady, stable state of mind, tranquility. That what I'm trying to do is find a way for my mind to be calm, for there to be equanimity, peacefulness. A sense of calm, simply that. And so what will lead me to tranquility or a state of calm? Doing those practices in life that lead me toward that. And that word, the word for that is abhyasa. So we want to live this principle of abhyasa. It can be a good foundation for making decisions. A friend calls you up on the telephone and invites you to go somewhere and do some activity. I'm not saying you hang up on your friend and say, let me call you back while I sit here and think about it for a while. It becomes second nature, that you realize that this activity is just stress building. This is actually not going to help me have calm peace of mind. I think I'm not going to do that activity. Or your friend calls you up to do, I'm trying to not put force examples in because I think you can easily do that yourselves. Or something else, a friend calls you up and you say, maybe it's to go a place in nature, or go to listen to some nice music, or take a walk in the park or something. You say, oh, that would be very nice. I think, yes, let's go do that. And you're thinking in the back of your mind the principle of Abhyasa. I'm going to make the decisions in life that lead me to calm and tranquility. This is Abhyasa. It's a very broad term. A lot of the sadhana practices that we do in yoga have the effect of leading there, but it's also, as you may have encountered, it's very easy to exert yourself with the principle that says put out 110%, and you're getting yourself all stressed out trying to do yoga of some kind or another. That's not Abhyasa. That's stress producing. Abhyasa means make the decisions that bring a calm state of mind. Okay? And the other word, Abhyasa and Vairagya, Vairagya means non-attachment. And non-attachment is a term, a process that grows slowly, considerably over a long period of time. It may start out with saying things like, I want to be non-attached. I'm going to be non-attached to my old habit. I have this chai, tea, and coffee habit. I'm drinking too much caffeine. And I need to have non-attachment to my habit and cut out my caffeine. But non-attachment is subtler. It's learned. It's not just about objects. It gets softer and softer and gentler and gentler. And we gradually start to see that it is not a thing unto itself. Rather, non-attachment means the absence of clinging. It's an attitude, the absence of clinging through attachment or aversion. We were talking earlier about vrittis, and those vrittis that are the fluctuations, the little waves rising in the mind field, those vrittis, most of them that cause us trouble, they are because of an underlying attachment. Or in relationship with other people, another word for attachment is expectation. We have expectations about how our co-workers and our boss and our spouse and our children and our parents and our family members and social acquaintances and politicians and on and on and on. It's so easy to have expectations about how those other people are going to behave. Have you ever noticed how the other people in your life have a habit of doing what they want to do rather than what I want them to do? Maybe you don't have that in your life. I think most of us do. And so those are expectations. Those are attachments. And what we're attempting to do, it's not to say that it's easy, and it doesn't mean that we're approving of every behavior of every person in our life. But we're increasingly coming to accept that that's just the way that person is. Have you ever noticed in relationships that end up very close and end up in marriage, very, very commonly the little bitty behaviors that are there when you first meet that person, you're getting to know each other, are endearing, they're sweet, they're just cute little habits that the person has. Think about it. We've all probably experienced that. But then after some period of time, after a few years goes by, those things are not cute anymore. They're now irritating. Well, what happened? Well, something changed. Why is it no longer a cute behavior and now it's irritating? Something changed internally. An expectation arose in some way. And we have drifted away from our stance of non-attachment, and we have become attached. And it's in this way that attachments cause us trouble in life. And when we are trying to to have tadadrastu svarupe vasana, when we're trying to do the things that allows the drastu to rest in its own true nature, then part of that journey is a major part. In some sense, you can describe the whole journey of Ashtanga Yoga as one of non-attachment. That the whole journey is about Abhyasa and Vairagya. These two principles are very, very foundational. They come together, and you can fairly say that it is the whole journey. And so you allow it to sit there as a foundation. Learn the two principles, play with them gently, lovingly, and learn to gradually practice them in your life. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa, here's another easy way to hold this Abhyasa and Vairagya business. Abhyasa says, I'm practicing doing those things that lead me to calm and tranquility. And how do I do that? I just gently, gently, gently keep going, keep moving forward. Today's a new day, just keep moving forward. Keep practicing finding tranquility. And what is the Vairagya? Let go. Let go. Simply let go. Moving forward and letting go. Abhyasa and Vairagya.